Are you all ready to join me today in our trip to outer space?
Yeah.
Albert Shivers.
The Matrix doesn't happen.
That's very true.
Come along quietly or not.
They don't have to like it, but they're gonna see what happens.
Goodbye, wimps.
And now, without further ado,
from Albert Shivers.
The general concept is that creativity flourishes in an atmosphere of freedom.
Hello, folks, and welcome to another episode of the Planet Shivers podcast. I am, and always will be, Albert Shivers. And on this episode, Namu comes back to the show. You might remember Namu was on the show very early on in the podcast, along with Courtney, Nat, and Sylvia, all the Create and Be girls. Well, now Namu has come back solo on this episode to talk about spirituality, her work as a creative director, and her entrance into the world of modeling. It's a great conversation her and I have, but before we get to that, I just want to fill you in. I spoke a little bit about it on the last episode, but my collage mockumentary movie will be coming out soon. Mondo Alberto is just about done. I am doing the final little tweakings, and I'm planning on doing a whole episode talking about that a little bit, maybe get some people who are involved in it to come on and talk about it. Also got a lot of new art stuff cooking on the Instagram page at Albert Shivers, exploring a lot of new things with pen and ink. And finally, I'm done being crotchety and embracing the reels a little bit more. So there's videos, there's pictures. I'm just shooting all kinds of things at you for you to check out. Also, a lot of cool guests coming up as we get into the 90s of this podcast and get closer and closer to episode 100. So that's all the news. I hope you guys are doing well, enjoying the holiday. Now let's get to my conversation with Namu.
Cocoa Puffs are a delicious part of any well-balanced breakfast. They're good for you, which parents love, and they taste like candy, which I love. I can't help it. I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Cuckoo!
And now, all expecting mothers can look for new bio-infused Cocoa Puffs. Give your child the extra boost with chocolate milk. Do not take a pregnant nursing.
This is 77 WABC.
Very happy to be joined today by model, creator, and visionary Namu. Thanks for coming on the show again.
Thank you.
So I guess I want to jump right into the last time you were on the show was February 2020, and a lot has happened since then.
Right.
One thing that you've gotten into has been modeling.
Right.
And it's been, from my point of view of social media and just being an observer, it's been fun to watch you climb up this journey of yours. So talk a little bit about that.
Well, since 2020, I should say, it was last year. Last year, I did a Dream Walk fashion show. Mm-hmm. It was it's an all-inclusive fashion show, and that was my first time actually walking on a runway.
Okay.
That was September of last year. So I did that, and this past weekend, I did a little New York modeling camp. I did a New York modeling camp. I got headshots. I got to learn one-on-one runways and how to walk and how to present yourself as a professional model.
Okay.
So I definitely learned a lot. And then this coming February, this next year, I'll be attending the same agency modeling camp for New York Fashion Week.
Oh, nice.
So I'm just, I was the only plus size model there. In the modeling camp, and I feel sometimes a little bit I like a lot of pressure, you know what I'm saying, because it's I'm not the typical model size, if that makes sense. But now, since everything's more inclusive, you know, I have a higher chance, you know, walking on somebody's runway or walking for Rihanna or Savage Fenty or something like that. Because everything's more inclusive. Everything's kind of more body positive in that way. So I could push my door in, you know.
Right.
But I'm still kind of working on that, you know, because like I could get in my head and, you know. But I've been getting a lot of positive feedback from even from the models that went into the modeling camp too as well. So I'm trying like my best to educate myself on different things that I need to know as far as like professional modeling. And I feel that's why I changed my social media presence, because it's like I am a creative director first, but I am a model second. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I put in creative director because I feel like I don't see myself as a fashion model. You know what I'm saying? But I got to that side of fashion modeling over the weekend, and I could just see myself more as collectively. That's my second. You could say my second thing I do. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So you know, it was really interesting to learn a lot of things and learn different ways to present yourself, not just a plus size model, but like a model in general.
Yeah.
So
do you find did you mention pressure before? Did you feel pressure because you were one of a few plus size models? Or did that bring any pressure?
I feel like
less of them?
it's I feel like it's less. And I feel like it's less presenting in my eyes because I was the only one there.
Right.
You know, and like I feel sometimes like it's pressure on me because it's just like I'm not just modeling for myself. I'm modeling for everyone that looks like me.
Right.
You know, I don't wear a size 8, I don't wear a size 4, I don't wear a size 2.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I have to go at more of an extra step to work a little bit harder because it's just like I don't have long legs. I'm not 5'8" and you know a size 4 or whatever.
Right.
I'm 5'5", and you know I'm this size. So you know that's why I feel like I can't really present myself as a fashion model. I present myself as more an inclusive body positive model and creative director, and I feel like I'm in that lane. But I've learned so much from just like the runway aspect and the high fashion aspect of that, and I'm just like whoa, like this is wow, like I'm getting in here, like I'm getting into it. It's not just, you know, I'm creative directing the photo shoot and I'm giving the photographer the idea and I'm just modeling what I created.
Yeah.
So it's a different lane than high fashion than just doing creative shit as far as modeling. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I've learned from that aspect, and I think I need to learn more, and that's why I love to take these modeling classes and really learn more about the professional side. So that's why I kind of changed my outlook on social media, because like I don't want to present as a fashion model. I want to present as plus size model, but also creative director. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I want to separate myself, because I'm not presenting myself as that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So as creative director, which we'll get to, you find yourself more behind the scenes, behind the camera.
I do.
And as the model, you're in front of it.
Right.
So a lot of people have fear of public speaking, fear of getting on stage. So your first time walking out, we've all seen footage of the runway models.
Right.
But very little people have experienced that.
Right.
So for your first time doing that, what was that like?
It was nerve-wracking. I had a really, really high anxiety. Like, to be honest with you, I was kind of nervous doing the modeling camp. Okay. But I had to self-talk with myself. It's like, you've been doing this for a minute as a freelance model, but you really haven't got that far yet in doing high fashion runway walking model. So I really, in even fashion shows, I really had to self-talk myself, because it's just like, you know, I don't see, even when I look at the New York Fashion Week, there's 2% even 1%, I should say, of plus size modeling in any of those shows. Let's be real. And then most of it is just like the only fashion show I really see that's really all inclusive is the Rihanna Savage Fenty shows, fashion shows. But like when it comes to like New York Fashion Week or just Fashion Week in general, there's a small amount of plus size inclusivity at all, you know? Right. And I had to put myself in this positive mindset because it's just like, what if I do get picked? What if people are just literally seeing me? And the owner of the agent of the company he put me to the side. He's like, I just want to tell you. And it kind of made me a little teary-eyed, but I didn't cry that time. But when I went home, I did cry. He's like, you're doing a great job. I just want to tell you that. And I'm loving your confidence. And I'm just like, thank you. Because I don't see it, but other people see it. And even the other models that were attending the model camp with me as well kept telling me, you're doing great. I love your confidence. Like, keep practicing. You're gonna get there. And these are like models that been doing it for years, but also been walking runway fashion shows for a minute. And you're telling me that if you're seeing something in me, then I need to like look at what's outside of here and look at what's inside and really not just step up my game, but also really put myself in a higher, a higher rank, because it's just like I'm seeing myself very low. And I shouldn't have to just because I am a plus size model. You know what I mean? So I had to like really dive deep with myself, because I'm not gonna lie, I definitely over the summertime I definitely wanted to quit modeling because I just felt it was just nothing for me as a bigger person or as a plus size Black woman, in the industry. So I just felt like, well, I'm just gonna do my little freelance thing whenever I want and do my creative directing when I really want to. So yeah.
Okay. And what was the show that you walked the runway for?
That was a Dreamwalk fashion show. So I applied there. It was like literally before the pandemic. Okay. I applied, put my application in. Courtney was the one. Shout out to Courtney. Courtney was the one that sent me the link. And she's like, yo, girl, applied. You know how she is. Girl, applied. Yeah, you know, that could be you, man. You know what I'm saying? And then I applied there. And then the questions that they asked me, I just was completely honest. And next thing you know, 2 weeks later, I was picked.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. Did any of so you had been creative directing prior to this. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like any of your creative directing experience played into your prep to walk the runway?
It definitely did. Okay. Definitely did. I feel like creative directing definitely got me out my comfort zone with modeling, because there's one thing with creative directing, you're working with people that work behind the camera. Right. The photographer, the videographer, everybody else that's worked behind it. So I felt like sometimes I want to be the representation, because there's no representation at all sometimes, So I just blatantly, got into more modeling because of that. And also too, I feel, I'm more best at when I'm creating something and I could bring it to life as I'm modeling it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it definitely did.
Okay.
Definitely
so
did.
What kind of stuff have you creative directed on?
Recently?
In general, you could just whichever one you want to talk about.
Well, when I was creative directing heavily with Korea MB, I was doing more of the working with Sylvia and the photographer, mainly, working with the models that she was picking and helping her recreate like a photo shoot or like the theme or the concept and stuff like that. Also was working with other photographers as well with different concepts, themes. This past May, I worked with one of my close friends with his music video, direct his music video, and that was pretty well. So I feel like music photography is like literally my lane. And talking about music, I definitely went back into making music too. So that's been more inspiring with my creative skills, if that makes sense.
So what goes into it for you? If you're on a photo shoot or you're on a music video and you're there, what are the kind of things that you're looking for? Or how do you creative direct?
Okay.
What's your method?
My method with creative directing is literally a conversation with whoever wants to bring out the message or bring out the story, if that makes sense. So, for example, when I was working with Sylvia with one of the shoots and one of the models, I'm like, okay, what's the theme? What you want to present? And she's like, I'm gonna go with your flow. I'm like, all right, boom. We could be at a location and I could see something. So I'm literally using my imagination. And I'm telling her what my imagination is, what I see, and she's like, all right, boom. And I'm placing the model showing her the poses, showing her what to do, telling her this will look good, if this will flow better. You know what I'm saying? So it's mainly in details. And then when I was working with my friend with his music video, I was listening to like his song, right? And I'm just like, okay. And then he showed me the location that he wants to shoot the music video. I said, boom, this is my imagination. We was on the phone for 2 hours. And I was like, this is my imagination. This is what I see. This is my visual. What you think? He's like, what the fuck? I like that. You know what I'm saying? So, and he just added a little bit of his own thing too. And I'm just like, all right, cool. All right, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? But I wasn't physically there at his music video shoot, but I let him know the details of what I see, and it was so accomplished. And I'm glad that we kind of like he asked me to be his creative director, and it went really well. So and then another friend of mine that also does music, he asked me to be his film director for his music video. I don't know nothing about film.
Right.
The only thing I know is about creative directing, and that's it. But filming, I'm just like, that's really out of my comfort zone. I don't know anything about that. He's like, I can help you, because he has a background in film. But, I'm just like, well, is this my other thing that I want to do? And I'm just like, no, I don't really have to be a film director. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I love film. But I feel like I like to be in my own lane when it comes to that. I don't want to have my things because I already do so much.
You don't want to spread yourself too thin.
I don't want to spread myself too thin, but right. And also too, I feel like I like to be on that creative side because filming is a lot of work. You know what I'm saying? It's putting time in and things like that. I really don't have the passion in that, to really direct. But like that would have been my first music video that I already film or direct. So, but yeah, I feel like my method is using my imagination and also just using my eye. I have a strong eye. I use some people call it the third eye. Right. I call it my vision eye. And and anytime my vision eye sees something, I'm literally going with that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Is any of this stuff that you worked on, is it out yet?
Yes, it's definitely out.
Okay.
Yeah, the music video's out. The one that I'm supposed to be filming has not been out yet. We haven't been working on that, but that's gonna be up in the works.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. The ones that are out, what are their names? People can go find them.
So it's Tuura, Tuura, and his music video is Extraordinary, and that's out on YouTube, every platform, and stuff like that.
Okay, cool. So we were talking a little bit before we started to record.
Yes.
About astral projection. Now, I've been playing around with this for probably a little bit over a year.
Right.
With mixed results. I think I found my sweet spot. But what are some of your thoughts or even experiences with that?
With astral projection, I have so much intense dreams.
Okay.
I feel like I've been having that since I was born, since I was little, but it really got more intense when I really got into my, you could just say, spiritual awakening, or more in touch with my ancestors. You could say that.
Okay.
So, there was one time that I had a divination reading, and the reader was saying to me, she's like, your spirit guides or ancestors come to you in your dreams. And she said there was one particular dream that I had to pay attention to. And sometimes it comes when I'm like dealing with something. You know what I'm saying? And a little more recently, there's been a lot of people that have been telling me I've been in their dreams and stuff like that. But when I got more into my spiritual awakening, like there was one dream that I felt like I went out of body. I had almost like an out of body experience, and that's been a little like a repetitive dream too, because I feel like sometimes I'm out of body, then I'm somewhere on a beach, somewhere on the water, and yeah, like my dreams are crazy. And my recent dreams, I've been having dreams that I have like a family, and I don't know if this makes sense, but I have like I have children and a whole husband. Okay. So I don't know if that's like telling me or foretelling what I'm gonna have in my future. So, and sometimes I could actually project so much to a point where I could almost dream a little bit further, and I'm just like, okay, I have to, what's my reality, what's my actual dream world, because my dream world is a whole different life that I have. Right. You know what I'm saying? I'm single, but I just have my cat. You know what I'm saying? I've got no kids, I've got no husband. So I feel like astral projection is so intense. Like when you're heavy on your spirituality, I feel like you get so much downloads, even when you're not even dreaming. So I feel like as I got older, I feel like the downloads and even the astral project has been really stronger. But I feel like I'm more understanding of why I'm dreaming those things.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah.
It started for me is that it would happen for me when I would be in the not juxtaposed, but like a balance of sleep and awake. It wouldn't happen to me like in the middle of the night. It wouldn't even happen. I would feel it begin to happen, let's say. And I would be experiencing life awake and alert, even though I know that I'm asleep. And the first few times, the shock of it would jar me awake, literally awake. And then eventually, I was like, no, like, okay, we're here, stay still, like, don't freak out, don't jar yourself awake, just kind of let it flow. And it went from very quick, simple things to 2 instances where I was in my bed and I was up walking around the apartment. And the second time this had happened, I had walked all through the apartment. I'm just looking around. Like, I'm not interacting. I'm just like, woo, I'm asleep, but I'm walking around. And it felt intensely real until I went back into my bedroom and I had a thought of, I need to write this down. And I went over to my desk and went to grab a pen, and like a movie, my hand just went right through the pen cup.
Oh, shit.
You know? And that shook me, and it shot me awake. And I just went, pew, right back to the bed. Because, like, just that, like, because we grab things every day, and we always grab them. Our hands never go through things.
Wow.
So that happened, and it spooked me. And it sent me awake in my bed. But I remember it so vividly. And that was a few months ago, maybe a little more. But that was the last time it happened very intensely.
Wow. Yeah, like, I don't know if this happened to you, but like certain astral projection, like I get smells.
Okay.
I get smells. I can smell different things. Like if I'm dreaming, right? Say if I'm dreaming and I'm in a restaurant, I could literally, when I wake up, I could smell what the restaurant was making. Let's just say they was making tacos, right?
Yeah, right.
I could smell, when I wake up, I could smell tacos. It's the weirdest shit. And then also too, I get like certain marks on my body.
Okay.
And then like that's been happening like for a while, but like usually I would get like bruises and like I'm like, what the hell? I never banged my knee at certain things.
Yeah.
So there be certain things in my dream where I feel like I'm like physically there sometimes, and it feels so real to a point where I get little whispers sometimes when I wake up, and I'm like, what the hell is this? So I don't know if it's like because I'm so intense with what I'm believing that more and more that the dream gets more intensive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because like, let's go back to the divination reading. She says, my spirit guides and ancestors always communicate with me through my dreams. And I feel like sometimes my dreams are just more lit than my actual life. Right. You know what I'm saying? I have a whole family and a husband. Like, that's what you tell it. And my hair is longer. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's so weird.
To what you're saying, I think that it, is it becoming more intense because you're more knowledge about it, or, which is the way I tend to lean, is that you're more open to it. And I do believe that when you become more open to certain things like this, it can happen more.
Yeah.
And I get the smells too a little bit differently. So like just the other day, there's an ex of mine, but we're still friendly. Okay? And she's up in Buffalo right now.
Right.
And a couple of days ago, and she just moved there. She's having a little bit of a rough go.
Right.
Just getting acclimated to a new city and all that stuff. Typical kind of thing. And a couple of days ago, I'm walking through the living room on my way somewhere to get something, and I picked up her scent. I can be very, I notice the way people smell. Whether it's something that they wear,
right,
whatever it is, I know people smell. And I picked up her scent just walking through the living room. And there's nothing here that would replicate it.
Right.
There's nothing in this apartment that would replicate it. And I go, I should call her up. So I finished doing whatever I was doing, and I call her up, and at that time, or somewhere in the vicinity, not exactly, but somewhere in the vicinity of the time when I picked up her scent, she had gone through something. Like something kind of little bump in the road that she had to deal with. So, and I only say that to say that I just think that when we're open to things that are a little mysterious and that we can't quite explain, I really feel like it's more of a spiritual thing. It's more of a gut thing. It's not something that's going to be tangible. It's a feeling.
It's a feeling, right.
And I think that can apply to astral projection too.
Oh, yeah. The most.
And any of that, like spirituality kind of thing.
Yeah.
The way you're in touch with yourself.
Yeah. And I also feel like dreams, like, not just even astral projection, I feel like dreams, like, give you so much warnings, you know? And I feel like they give you messages to where, like, you need to pay attention to. And, like, throughout this whole year, I feel like my spirit guides, ancestors, or the higher, the high power or whatever, has been giving me messages to where I had to share with someone, or I had to, because like I feel like in the spiritual world, you are a vessel, you know, and sometimes you are used as a vessel to relay a message to someone, and I feel like I've been doing that more often. And one of my friends, he's like, "Why you sound like somebody's auntie or a grandmother?" I'm like, "Whoa," you know what I'm saying? And sometimes I caught myself, I'm like, "Oh, okay, all right," you know?
Yep.
So, yeah.
So now I'll take us real into the weeds here.
Right.
Have you ever, in your being awake, so like away from astral projection and away from dreams a little bit, awake, have you ever seen or felt anything?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
Is there anything you wouldn't mind sharing?
I don't mind sharing. I don't mind. Let's just say there was one particular thing that kind of like, and also too, I have to say more recently, my okay, so ever since I moved into this apartment that I have now, I've been in this apartment since 2019.
Okay.
So just more recently, but I had my cat like the same year I moved in, right? So I moved in during the winter time. I had my cat during the summertime, right? Ever since he was little, my cat, he was always looking at some corner in my living room, and I always felt a presence there.
Okay.
But the presence was welcoming. It was inviting. But I always felt the presence was watching me and watching my whole entire house, right? So I got the divination reading back in 2018. So everything that the reader predicted, pretty much, it's been happening. So you know, when you get a reading like that, stuff just don't happen the next day. It happens throughout a long period of time.
Right.
So there was just things that she was telling me, and it was making sense, right? But now it makes more sense. Because during my waking life, I should say, I've been having a lot of like, you could say supernatural, quote unquote.
Okay.
But that presence in my house, I felt like it's been somewhat of my family member that passed on, that I never met before. Because I definitely feel this as a male presence.
Okay.
But when I've been talking about him with my cousin, he's like, you know, that can be your guardian or somewhat of that sort. It can be like multiple people. But my cat always looks at that, looked at that corner. So there was one time, I was gonna have company over. Some guy that we was talking and, So something was telling me, something was just not working with me. Like, I was getting my stuff, the outfit I was wearing and things like that. I was about to cook and something just completely knocked off something on the same corner. Every time I feel that presence in the same corner, my cat be looking at, because cats can look at spirits too. Right. But there was the smell, and then I heard something. Don't bring this guy in the house, and it was a male voice. It was like, do not bring this guy in this house. And I'm just like, what the hell? What the hell? And I heard it so much to a point where the voice was just closer to my shoulder.
Okay.
And then after I heard that voice, I heard this. I get a tap on my shoulder like this. It tapped me just like that, like 2 taps. Like, pay attention, bitch. Like, pay attention. Pay attention. Right. And then my cat just kept meowing. My cat was looking at the same corner, right? After that voice, my cat was like, meow, meow. And I'm just like, what's the matter? And he's like, he was looking, he kept looking, and I'm just like, okay, that's what whoever is telling me, just to pay attention, right? And I have an altar. I have, I burn candles and I burn incense, whatever. I'm looking at my altar, right? So my altar is in the same space as that corner, right?
Okay.
But say this is the corner, right? And here's my altar.
Right.
So I have certain deities that represent in my spiritual court. The deity statue, they have a stare, but it was directly staring at me.
Wow. Okay.
And then I'm just like, okay, this is not supposed to be it.
Right.
So the guy ended up just not showing up at all. Something happened with his car, boom, boom, boom. And I'm just like, kind of worked like that. But anytime I have those scenarios,
right,
or anything of that sort, I have to stay away from that person. Because whatever they bringing into my space is not good for me. So this has been happening more and more frequently throughout the year. Let's just say last year. They've been warning me about a friend. They've been warning me about people that I need to stay away from. So I get the voice, and I get a tap, or I get it's like a smell. I get smells, and then I get it's like a kind of like a smoke thing, it's almost like it's like a smudge of smoke.
Okay.
And it's kind of weird, but another thing that happened to me that's kind of like a supernatural kind of thing too. I'm sorry, like I'm going rampant. But,
no, go for it.
I get people change. Wow, it's 444. I get changing. If I look at a person, say if I'm outside, their face can be trippy almost.
Okay.
Changing faces, or it's almost like some weird shit going on, right? I could definitely see that someone's face.
Okay.
But they not actually doing it. I'm actually seeing it on a spiritual point. You know what I mean? Their face can be droopy, or their face can change, or emotion, or something like that. And I'm staring at them what the fuck is going on here? And I could snap out of it, and then it's just almost like nothing happened. But it's a sign where I need to stay away from that person. So I get certain things like that, you know. So yeah, a lot of trippy supernatural stuff.
Yeah.
Here at offbrandheels.com, we've got all the brands that fit your needs and your budget. Johnny Chun, Dolce & Banana, Marolo Blornig, Prodder, Gookie, DKNI, Alexander McCain, Diana von Fistenbug, and Jessica Simpson. We've got all the brands that fit your needs. Job interviews, running from your parole officer, attending a theater opening, breaking into your mom's house to steal her cable box. Offbrandheels.com. Naturally fancy.
But I can also relate with those feelings.
Right.
Feeling some sort of presence or something nudging you in a certain direction to saying, don't do this or do that. And a lot of times, when you follow those feelings, it tends to work out.
It definitely does. And I definitely get those, they could say those gut feelings. I get those all the time. All the time in different situations. Or even if one of my friends are telling me something about a situation with another person, and I'm like, no. And I'll be, sometimes they're like, oh, you overthinking things, or you just too much of a overthinker. I'm just like, nope. And then it will actually happen, and and I probably would save their life doing that,
Right.
So, I think having a strong intuition too does play a role.
And do you feel over time that you that you lean into it? I guess say that being open to it makes it stronger.
Yes.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
What is an example maybe of something that you've noticed over time about your senses that may have been heightened or have gotten stronger over time?
Mainly just listening.
Okay.
Listening to what let's just say, my spirit guides, or anything that I literally have on my altar, or just mainly what I listen to, because like sometimes I have to listen in order to receive a message, if that makes sense. Like I use my senses, like the smells, or a vision, or a download, and I feel like it happens when I get like a sharp pain in my stomach.
Okay.
And it all correlates to my stomach. And I get those stomach pains. Or I get it's almost like a cramp.
Okay.
Or like sometimes even like a weird feeling in my body. And it's always happens in my stomach area. So when that happens, I know there's something that's telling me something. Or that's telling me, hey, watch out. Or hey, you're on the right path, or something like in that sort. Or hey, there's something going on that you need to pay attention to. Or I get those taps, like I said, on the shoulder. Recently I've been getting like tickles like right near here.
Okay.
And then sometimes even flashes. I see like different, like a flash of a light, and I need to pay attention to. So, or I could be thinking about something, and then I put my phone down, and I could just hear something, and it could just be something where it's a knock, or it'd be something so random. And I'm just like, oh, all right. This is what y'all was telling me, huh? Right. Really?
Right.
2 knocks. That's it. And then like here they are. I'm like, wow. So there's certain things, but a lot of things just happen like on my stomach area, and they say the gut feelings. I definitely get those gut feelings.
Gotcha. Question about dreams. I heard this the other day, and it struck me by surprise. Somebody brought up that we never dream. So in 2022, we all have our phones. Have you ever had a dream with your phone in it? Okay, so apparently that's very, very uncommon to dream with your phone. And when it was brought up to me, I've never had a dream with my phone in it. And a lot of people have said that they've never had a dream with their phone in them. And it could just be a coincidence. But it's also interesting that, I can't remember having a dream with too much technology in it. And that's always been very curious to me since I heard about this.
Yeah, like it's in one of my dreams. It hasn't been like a smartphone at all. It's always been like almost like a old-fashioned house phone.
Okay.
Or somewhere in that sort, but it could be like a computer, but it's not really in a way where it plays a role with technology.
Right.
So I did had like a almost futuristic dream, but there was like flying cars or something like that, but that was more into the whole alien type of thing. But like, but nothing in a way where like it's like an actual iPhone and I'm dreaming of, nah. It was always like a house phone.
Okay. So,
or like
I guess what I meant specifically was the iPhones, like smartphones, and so many people we have this every day, and it's safe to say that most people are looking at it for at least an hour a day collectively.
Right.
So, why aren't we dreaming about it? Like every day with this thing. And it's not in our dreams, and that's just, I don't know the answer, but it's curious.
It's very curious. Or you can even dream about something that you just looked at on your phone and have a dream about that. I mean, that happens to me sometimes. Like you could scroll over TikTok, you could dream about something that you watched on TikTok. It happens, you know. But not like an actual like smartphone. It's always been like an old age phone or like regular house phone.
Gotcha. So do you like I've heard that it's better to like stay away from your phone a certain amount of time before going to sleep. And I try to do that, I don't a lot, but I try to. Do you find that does it affect your sleep at all? Or?
It does. I feel like if I'm being really intensive and I'm a big dreamer, like I dream a lot. So I find when I'm not dreaming a lot, I'm like, okay, I need to put this across my room. You know what I'm saying? And then I be listening to like a lot of like meditation music sometimes. If I can't really sleep, I usually burn incense while I go to sleep, so that kind of helps me. The scent kind of helps me sleep. But when I figure I have trouble sleeping, that's when I know like my mind is going elsewhere. You know what I mean? So I try to like smoke at least a little bit before I go to sleep, and that knocks me out.
Gotcha.
So I try not to have like my phone near my bed anyway.
Yeah.
You know, so
I don't blame you.
But it could be a habit. You know what I'm saying? It could be a habit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So before we wrap up, I just want to we talk a little bit about Hood Hippie Inc. Say a little bit about that, what it's all about, and what your involvement in it is.
Hood Hippie is my friend Buddha Banks. He is the owner of Hood Hippie. Mainly the designer of it. He does like mostly tie-dyed, and it's basically like a community. And it's based off of like your spirituality, also living in the hood or having the background of living in that poverty, but also making your clothes as not as your identity, but like living, you know, in that hippie lifestyle, like, you know, smoking marijuana and like smoking herbs and being spiritual, but all about self improvement, all about holistic health and wellness, and also being in that straightforward mindset of being positive and also being the knowledge of self. You know what I mean? So that's really Hood Hippie, and I'm one of the co-managers of Hood Hippie, and I did model for one of his photo shoots for one of his shirts. He basically, for every person, he does the tie-dye for, and it's based off what he sees in your aura.
Okay.
So my tie-dye shirt was basically like blue, purples, and indigo and things like that. So, and those mainly those colors. So he is always based off, the tie-dye it's kind of like your signature tie-dyed, pretty much. And he just goes off based off your aura, based off your personality, and it's kind of like a customization of a tie-dye for you personally. Okay. So that's what he kind of does. That's his design, and he made up with the name. I remember when we talked on this how I've been knowing him for. We talked on Skype about this of what his idea about it. And I'm glad that he brought me on board with it, because, you know, I could see a little bit further. So I can't wait to show the world what we can come up with Hood Hippie. I feel like it's gonna be an outstanding. I feel like for the collective, but also people that feel different, feel like they are authentic than anybody else. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like Hood Hippie is a movement. It's definitely a movement. It's definitely a movement. So I can't wait for more designs and more things that kind of come with Hood Hippie. I feel that is gonna come during the spring or summer.
Okay.
You know.
Cool.
So.
Cool.
So yeah.
And where can folks find you if they want to check out what you're up to?
Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Namu Visions, all platforms. Cool. And Hood Hippie, that's hood.hippie, and that's on Instagram as well. But we're gonna be posting more and doing more things on that side, but that's gonna be very good on the hush.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna be looking out for it. So
yes,
awesome.
yes, for sure.
It was great talking to you.
Thank you for
this
having
was a
me.
Fun conversation.
Yes.
And I go in and out MIA, and so that's just how I roll. But I've been following you and been watching your videos and your modeling thing, and whoever gave you that advice when you were modeling was right.
Right.
I definitely think you killed it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I think you did a really good job.
Thank you.
And any jitters you may have had, while I understand it, I couldn't tell.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you.
Good luck with that. And I hope that continues to work out for you.
Much. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And hopefully have you back on again with Sylvia and Courtney again. I'd like to do that.
Right.
The group. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, the group podcast. I think the group podcast is really dope.
Cool. Yeah, I've been doing like roundtables lately.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I wanna like get more of those together and different ideas and stuff.
I like that.
So yeah, I'll keep you in mind.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks again, Namu.
Thank you.
Thank you all for listening to this episode of the Planet Shivers podcast. Thank you to Namu for coming on the show, giving us her time and talking about all the things we covered. Don't forget, we're in the 90s now. Got a lot of cool episodes coming up on the way to 100. Some old guests coming back, some of your favorites, and some new people who've never been on the show before. So it's going to be a very, very fun countdown to 100. And I got big plans for episode 100. So please keep listening and stay tuned. Don't forget, like and subscribe. That helps immensely. You could find all the other episodes on YouTube and on all major podcast platforms. And you could find out more of what I'm doing on Instagram at Albert Shivers. Until the next episode, take care of yourself and take care of somebody else.